From the OOPS, we have seen how to create classes, how to create objects, what is encapsulation, and we have seen properties in it. Abstraction we see today. Abstraction, inheritance we have seen. Abstraction, polymorphism. Under polymorphism, we are having two features: overloading, overriding. Okay, these are the OOPS concepts which we need to learn in Swift. Let's see. Abstraction. What is class? Class is a logical structure. Logical structure to create or to construct a objects. Object is physical structure. Physical structure or instance of a class. Encapsulation, binding properties and methods together into a single unit. Also, no, you can call it as protecting data from outside. Protecting data from outside in the sense only by using the objects only we can access the properties. Whatever properties we declare, without creating the object, we cannot access that. And inheritance. Deriving some behavior from its superclass. A superclass or parent class. Subclass. Subclass or child class. One thing to remember here, subclass can have more power than superclass, because in the subclass we add some more functionality so that the subclass instance can access subclass properties and methods as well as superclass properties and methods. So subclasses are more powerful than superclasses. Abstraction, hiding unnecessary functionality and exposing necessary functionality. Overloading this. Let's open the documentation. Properties we have seen 4 varieties of properties. I have used all these things here. Property observer. Property observer means you are observing. To observe a property, we're having some feature. Observing in the sense when the property is getting changed. When the property is getting changed, if you want to get that notified, you can use the property observers. Here will set and did set are the 2 property observers. Let me open undo class person. Class person. Let's say I'm having bank account, which contains variable of balance. Balance is float. At present, it is 0. Okay. To make it observe, will set is one block. Did set is another block. Okay, just to do some operation when the value is about to change. Balance is about to change. Balance changed. This is simply a property. Okay. When we are setting some property, if you want to get notified, if you want to get that notified, I'm putting by default at a 0. To get that notified, what we need to do is we have two blocks. Will set and did set. Did means already completed. Did means past. Will means future. Whenever you're trying to set the value, let me show you later. My account. Bank account. Let me also put something here. Function. Deposit. The amount is amount float. I'm just depositing. Depositing means we need to add it. Balance plus equal to amount. Similarly, withdraw. Withdraw is a function. How much amount withdraw? Amount to withdraw. Amount float balance minus equal to amount. Okay, this is equivalent to balance equal to balance plus amount, right? Equal to balance plus amount. Similarly, this is equivalent to compound operators. Balance equal to balance minus amount. Okay, let's say I have created a bank account. I'm depositing some amount here. Deposit some 100 rupees. See what happens. What we are doing whenever you are calling deposit, this method gets called. Here we are modifying the balance property. Whenever I am modifying the balance property, I want to also update the user interface. I also want to update the user interface on the mobile. If you want to update that, you need to know when the balance is getting changed. When the balance is getting changed, you need to know. To know that, we are having these are called property observers. We are observing the property. We are keeping an eye on so and so property. If that is getting changed, you'll get a notification. You'll get notified simply. See, here these are the two observers, property observers. Single property we are observing, will set and did set we are having here. Balance is about to change to new value. There is something automatically we get. Balance is changing. Balance is changed to balance also changed from old value. Old value and new values are not declared. By default, we get in case of will set and did set. What's that? From okay, these are the property will set and did set are the property observers. Let's run it. What is that? Okay, I am trying to deposit some value. Whenever we are depositing, what happens? This method gets called. When this method is getting called, whenever you are modifying the balance property, these two methods gets called will set and did set. In will set, what happens? See, balance is about to change to 0. I can also put change about to change from existing balances balance to new value. Balance is changed from old value to new value. Let's run this. Balance is about to change from 0 to 100. If you want to perform any operation, perform here. You can perform here. And balance is changed from 0 to 100. About to change, changed. Did means already passed, already changed. If you want to perform something here, you can perform here. What I want to perform here is I want to update the user interface. I can call a method like update balance on user interface. This is the method which I call. Here also, if you want only one, generally we use because it depends upon your requirement. If it is about to change, if you want to update it, you can update. Otherwise, you can also write func so on so something. Balance. The balance is balance. Okay, I want to update only once the balance is updated completely, then only I want to display that. Display, right? Current balance is so 100 rupees. If you want to deposit, I want to deposit something, some more amount, account at deposit, some 200, I want to deposit. Same thing happens now also. Will set will be called, did set will be called. Balance is about to change from 100 to 300. Balance is changed from 100 to 300. Once it is changed, I'm updating it on the user interface. That is balance. Now we do not have any user interface, so I'm using console print statement to display it on console. Clear? Will set and did set. Basically, we do not update twice. Will set and did set. In both the places, we do not update actually. Only one time is enough. Did means completed. Once the operation is completed, then only I want to update it. This is property observers. Yeah. And what else we have here? Hope this is clear. Property observers. The same thing you can read this document. I'll share you this document as well. Same thing I'm doing here. Initializers before abstraction. Initializers. There are a variety of initializers as well. Initializers are used to prepare an object with proper default values before it is created. What is the purpose of initializer? To construct the object, right? With proper default values. Classes and structures contains initializers. Init is the default initializer. Init is the default destructor. Init is to create object. Init is to dispose the object. Init is to dispose the object. Okay, here we are having a class test ABC. We are having initializing init because A is already having a value. So there are two other variables which needs values, which need values. So by using initializer, I am doing it. This is the default constructor. What is the default initializer? Default constructor. Init is the default constructor. Custom initializer. Custom initializer means you need to pass some values. I'm passing some values. I'm passing some values here and assigning them to the B and C. This is custom initializer. We have already seen custom initializers as well. Designated or convenience initializers. Okay. Designated and convenience initializer. By default, this is the init is the designated initializer. Convenience initializer is kind of a custom initializer only, kind of custom initializer. But here we call self.init. Whenever you want to use convenience initializer, you must also having default initializer. Convenience initializer is used to provide a custom default value for some properties of the class. Just we never use convenience initializer, but in interviews they will ask you what are the variety of initializers available. Default initializer, which is also known as designated initializer. Convenience initializer is another type where we use convenience keyword and we pass only few values here. And inside that we call actual initializer, and for only few values which we are passing, which you want to modify, that we modify here, we assign here. And custom initializer is, we already use init with passing some values. Passing some values, we see that as well. Custom initializer, deinitializers. Deinit is the method. Deinit, where we are setting disposing the object. If you want to do some extra operation, you can do from here. Encapsulation, we have already seen. Anyways, let me show you the initializers here. Here, B, right? Let's say, what is the purpose of initializer? To assign some proper default values. In case of classes, The classes does not provide you the default initializers, whereas structures provide you the default initializer. Here I have not assigned any default value, so it is asking for default value. What we can do? We can provide default value, right? Unit. I can, if I put balance equal to 0, it is happy because all properties are set here. All properties are having proper default values. By default, it is 0. I don't want to use the default initializer. I want to use custom initializer. By default, whenever I create my bank account, the minimum balance is so and so something, right? Float. So what I do is balance self dot balance equal to balance. This is a custom initializer. This is the default initializer. Default initializer are designated initializer. This is a custom initializer. Okay. The other thing is convenience initializer, right? Let me put some variable here. Name. It is string. Okay. Name is string. I want to use convenience initializer for this. How to use convenience initializer? See here. It is asking for this value is the values. All values are not set. Balance is set for the name. There is initializer, but it is not fulfilling. It is not fulfilling the requirement. Requirements. It is not fulfilling the values. Return from initializer without initializing all stored property. This is stored property. I say it right. See here, stored properties. There are stored properties which are having no values. So here, by default, I am putting name equal to something empty. Name equal to empty. Okay, let me write convenience initializer here. Convenience initializer. I am passing name here. String. Self dot. Here we need to use self dot init method. We need to use self dot name equal to name. This is what we need to use whenever you are using convenience initializer. You need to call the default. Self means current class. In this current class, I am calling a method. What is that method? Init method. Init is a method I am calling where I am setting all default values. I am setting all default values by calling designated or default initializer. Once I have set all the values, then I am overriding or assigning. I am assigning values for few properties. We have only one value, one property here. This is a convenience initializer. If you can see, there is no much difference, but actually in real time, there is a difference. Let's say, when do we use convenience initializer? Let's say I'm having 100 properties. Out of 100 properties, for setting the values for 100 properties, what I can do is I can write all those properties. Let's say this is one property. This is another property. I'm having 2 properties here only. For all 100 properties, I have set some default values. Then I want to set only name is different. Remaining all 199 objects, 99 properties can have default values. Only I want to give proper name, different name, customized name. Then what we can do is we can pass that as we can create a custom initializer, and inside that we can call self.init. When we call self.init, what happens? All the properties are being set with proper default values. Then we are overriding only one. Here also we can pass all the 99 values. One string, 2 string. Instead of passing 99 values, what I'm doing is I'm just calling default initializer and passing the whatever property I want to have custom value that I'm passing here. That is the actual use, but you will never use convenience initializer, but only for interviews. I'm just telling you here. Initializer types: designated, convenience, custom. Only 3 types we have here. Only 3 types we are having here. Okay. De-initializer. De-init. De-init is a method. You will not call init. We are calling here by default. This calls you unit default initializer. This is simply a function actually. Let my bank my account to equal to bank account. If you want to accept all default values, I can accept. If you want to accept the name, you can accept here. Here, this is actually custom initializer. If you see, these two are same only, but here we are not calling self.init. To call the self.init, what happens here? Self.init I am calling there. Just let me remove this. See if there is an error. What is the error? Designated initializer for bank output cannot delegate self.init. Did you mean to use convenience? If you want to use self.init, put the convenience before. That is what it is saying. Okay. If you want to use it, put the convenience here. Not here actually. We thought to use here. Here, this is custom initializer. Custom initializer, I'm putting self.init. That is convenience initializer. You need to put convenience. Okay, that is what we did for the name. For balance, I want to use custom initializer. So this is custom. See, when you're simply having empty parenthesis, that is default initializer. When you are having any properties, any arguments in a init method, and you are not calling self.init inside, that is custom initializer. When you are having input arguments and you are calling self.init, and you need to put convenience initializer, that is convenience initializer. Convenient. I'm just repeating. When do we use convenience initializer? When there are many properties in a class. When there are many properties in a class, and you want to set for few properties, you want to set custom values. For few properties, if you want to set custom properties, then what we do is we use self.init, the default initializer, to initialize all the properties. And for the few properties which you want to set custom values, those can be passed as an argument. In such cases, instead of if you are not calling this here, see what happens. You need to initialize all the values. All the values in the sense here we are having only balance only. Only balance. We need to, if there are 100 properties, you need to assign values for all 100 properties. Instead of assigning them, what I am trying to do is I am calling self.init so that all the 100 properties will be assigned properly. Then I am assigning my custom value. I hope this is clear. Init deinitializer, right? Let me create deinitializer. See if it is getting called. Bank account is disposing. See when this gets called, it will not. We never call deinit method. We call only initializers. We can call deinits are not called by us. Deinitializers are called by the system itself. Let's see, it will not call now. Anyways, balance we are changing. It's okay. But deinit is not called if you see. When the deinit gets called, let me show you. Bank account, I'm making it as an optional. Making it as an optional. My work is done. I deposited amount. Again, I deposited. Let me write withdraw amount 300. I'm withdrawing. Everything is done. I want to close the account. Closing means bank account equal nothing. We are releasing the bank account. We are just ignoring the bank account. I don't want bank account, so I'm putting nil here. Okay, since this is optional, right? When it is question mark while accessing as well. Okay, this is actually called optional chaining. Anyways, this is optional means options may or may not be existing. So I'm putting just I am assigning where my account equal to I'm just disposing the bank account. See when if this gets called or not. See whenever I'm putting my account equal to nil, I don't want the current account. I don't want the account. Then we are putting nil. When you put nil, the object is disposing. We are not calling deinit anywhere. Object is disposed. Bank account is disposing. Bank account is disposing. This is deinit. Deinit does not take any arguments, no parenthesis, nothing. Only deinit is the keyword kind of method which does not accept any properties. If you want to, what is the purpose of DUnit? If you want to dispose anything additionally, if you want to dispose anything additionally, you can dispose. In this case, I want to release the database connection, or I want to clear all the properties. By default, all this is done. But if you want to explicitly do something, you can also do. This is called a custom deinitializer. Okay. DUnit, you need not to write. We have not written any DUnit so far. By default, DUnits are created, and those are called by the system itself. You no need to take care of the DUnits. If you want to explicitly do something when the object is about to dispose, this method, in this method, I'm explicitly doing something. I'm explicitly clearing something. You can also do this. This is called deinitializer. Hope this is clear. Any doubts so far? Encapsulation. Encapsulation is a process of binding instance variables and methods together into a single unit to keep safe from outside of that class. That is what binding methods and properties together and keep safe from outside of the class. Encapsulation is achieved through the classes and structures. We have seen classes and structures. Okay. How do you achieve the encapsulation in Swift? By using something. Classes. Abstraction. Abstraction is the process of exposing necessary functionality and hiding unnecessary functionality. We can achieve abstraction by using access specifiers. Very, very important. 100% question again. About access specifiers. Abstraction is the process of exposing necessary functionality and hiding unnecessary functionality. As a user, I just want remote to operate the TV. As a user, I am not required to understand how the remote is connecting, how the sensors are working, how the internal connections are given, how the displays are being displayed. I don't need those things, how the remote is connecting to the user TV. I don't need all those things. Whenever as a user, I turn on TV, it should turn on. Whenever I increase the volume, it should increase the value. Whenever I change the channel, it should change. That is what, as a user, I wanted. As a user, I do not know how the remote is being connected to the TV. Okay, exposing, what is exposed here? Remote controls are exposed. But internal functionality, how it is connected, as a user, I do not know. I don't need to understand how those are connected. That is called abstraction, providing the necessary functionality, exposing the necessary functionality and hiding the unnecessary functionality. This can be achieved by using access specifiers. We will see them. We have a separate concept for that. Inheritance, we have already seen. Basic calculator and scientific calculator example we have seen. Subclasses more powerful than superclass. Subclass is able to access the superclass variables and methods as well as subclass variables and methods. Whereas superclass only can access superclass variables and methods. This is basic calculator. Basic calculator can perform addition and subtraction only, whereas subclass means scientific calculator can calculate addition, subtraction, less power and square root, factorial, etc. Polymorphism. Polymorphism. Just see the definition. Overloading in case of multiple methods having the same name, but difference in number of parameters, order of parameters, and type of parameters. Here, the methods are same. The name of the methods are same, but difference in either number of arguments, type of arguments. Type means here I am passing integer, here I am passing float. Display here order of parameters, here into float into. The methods are names are same, but difference in number of parameters, order of parameters, type of parameters, that is known as polymorphism. Poly means many, same method name in different forms. Okay, we see with the example. This I need to modify. So it supports overloading, even both is supports. Okay, override keyword we need to use. Anyways, I want to tell you one thing. Okay. Here there is something called read-only property. Read-only property, in the sense, read-only property is the one thing which we need to. I want to explain to make it read-only property. Let me put something there. Loan balance. Loan balance is float. I have taken a loan of 10,000 rupees. Let's say 1,000 rupees. Okay. Let me put actual balance. Actual balance, which is float. I'm just writing something. Yeah, computer property. Writing something. What is the actual balance? Balance minus loan balance, right? Whatever due I have from the balance, I'm removing the let's say loan balance minus from the amount what I am having. From that, I am removing my loan balance. Okay, actual balance is the one. Let me, after depositing something and after withdrawing something, let me also deposit some more amount. That deposit I'm depositing 350 here. Now I want to print after depositing something and after withdrawing something. I'm just printing my account dot actual balance. I'm printing actual balance. Actual balance means this is a computer property which is returning balance minus actual due. Let's run it. Actual balance is minus 350. Still, I am 350 rupees due. Now, let me put actual balance here. My account dot actual balance equal. I'm just trying to set 0. I'm trying to set it 0. See what happens. What is the error here? Cannot assign a property. Actual balance is get only property. Get only property means only you can take the value, only you can read the value, but you cannot set the value. You can read the value, but you cannot set the value. Okay, this is computer property, right? Kind of it is computer property only, but only returning the value. Whenever you are trying to access it, it only returns the value. Okay, actually, this actual balance is depending on this factor and this factor, this property and this property. You cannot directly set value for this. Right. If you want to modify this, what we need to do? We need to modify the other depending properties. How to modify? I want to modify it. My account dot deposit. When you make a deposit, 100 rupees, then it automatically modifies. Now it print after depositing, print this. Okay, that is read only property, get only property. In interviews, they will ask you what is get only property. Get only property only gives you the value, but not you cannot assign the value. To assign the value to the get only property, you need to modify the other properties. See here, actual balance after that, before it is 350 rupees deposit, 350 rupees is due. Here 100 rupees I am depositing. Now it is 250 rupees due. Okay, we are able to only read it. We cannot directly set the value. To modify the read only property, what we need to do? We need to read only means by default it is custom instance. If you want to also return something, will set did set return. Get set. Again, here also we are having two things. Get set. I'm getting this. I'm just, if you want to make the read-only property, custom property as gettable and settable, see what happens. Now we can set the value because we have set here. My account dot actual balance equal to 0. I can set now. Whenever we are making this as 0, what we need to do? The loan amount, those should be equivalent actually. I'm going to set here now because I'm having set. Two things we need to remember. We set and did set to notifiers. These are notifiers. Whereas get and set are whenever you are setting the value, this gets called print. Setting the value here, getting the value. getting the value. Whenever you are accessing, this block of code will be called. Here I am writing the balance minus actual balance, loan balance. Here, whenever you are trying to set the value, what we need to do? We need to modify. You cannot directly modify this here. You cannot directly set this thing. But what we can do, we need to here also we need to modify that. Let's say, let me print that now. After setting, after before that. Still the balance is 250 only after setting 0 also. But what we need to do? We need to modify whenever you are setting actual balance. You need to make balance equal to 1000. Loan amount is also 1000. Then it becomes 0. It depends actually depending on the balance, right? Actually, depending on the balance, or else what you can say loan amount, you can make it 0. Loan balance equal to when you make 0, that is also fine. You need to modify the depending properties in